That's a tough loss. They just could not, they just could not generate a stop tonight, man. I mean, my God. Like they got the shit down to three, and then it was just mistake after mistake after mistake after mistake after mistake, mistake, left, right, and center.
I'm not even gonna crash out because I don't think this deserves me to be angry.
Yeah.
Um, people hit shots. We didn't play defense. It was a mixture of both.
Yeah.
And honestly, really, just a really tough game tonight. I saw some good stuff from Kaminga. I saw some good stuff from Wiggins. What kills me, bro, and it is so nasty. If you check the last four games, the reason why we lost was because of Steph and Draymond in the fourth quarter, bro. Like Draymond gets the screen right, they run a good play, and then what does he do? He throws the shit like Kaminga is Jesus or something, and he's gonna get up there, bro.
Where the hell
Quick
was he
and super
passing that?
fast. I don't know. And
Bro.
Steph off nothing, no separation says, "Fuck it, bro.
Bro,
I'm
I
gonna
know
shoot it
Kaminga
right
can jump,
here,
man, but my God, like,
right here." Kyrie in my face. Fuck it, bro. I'm going for the clip, man.
yeah.
And just misses everything. So tough
Dog, I know
game,
the man
man.
can jump, you know what I'm saying? But bro, that's diabolical, you know what I'm saying? Like
And then tough hoops, and then Iceland like on the top. We put in pods in the fourth when we're
yeah,
down. So honestly, bad coach. Honestly, Looney pissed me off tonight. Do you know why?
yeah,
Because he doubled so. I mean, the whole team did, but Looney in specific, bro. He would double. The nigga would come out the corner as the help defense. The corner would be wide open. Who in the corner, bro? Fucking Clay Thompson. Are we dead ass? I would take the Derek Lively dunk over this nigga shooting the ball in the corner, bro. I know he's not the best anymore, bro. But you leave a nigga open in the corner, he's gonna hit it, bro. This shit is so stupid. Anyway, you know what? All good, man. Hopefully, better things are coming, bro. I hope this
yeah.
speeds up the process.
Yeah, we need that was just a bad game defensively tonight. Like to give up shit. How many points did they give up in that first quarter? They gave up
40,
You gave up
46
40
46.
points
something.
in that first quarter. You
Like,
know what I'm saying? Like 46, 35, 33, 29. Like, bro, you can't do that, man. Like, you can't do that and then expect to win the game. There's just no way. There's just no way you are going to win the game doing exactly that. That's criminal. That's
Bro,
purely
he can
criminal.
start Draymond again. Like, what did we think was gonna happen? Like, you're
Yeah.
gonna run like a team without your defensive ace on the court against this team?
Yeah.
Are we being for real right now?
That was criminal. That was a brain dead performance. That was and you see like once you get
Also, what
behind
the
like
fuck
that,
happened to Slomo? Why did he not touch the court tonight?
I
You
don't
think he
know.
wouldn't have been useful? Maybe that's
It's
just, I don't know, another body to throw at Luca. Maybe just for a couple spot minutes. But clearly,
yeah,
that's not that doesn't fucking exist. That idea never
45 tonight, man.
existed.
The man had 45, 13, and 11. Absolutely fried us. But they got him going early, you know what I'm saying? And he started to collapse the defense and all of that shit. So Luca's the one that really fried us tonight. But again, like, they had the game within three, even though he was frying like that. So what does that tell you? That tells you they're really not playing defense like that. And I felt like they could have gone at him even more than they did, but we don't play that kind of basketball. But like, just a stupid L tonight, man. Another dumb
I
L.
mean,
Honestly,
Why?
was
Hey,
I can't
why
even
do we keep
believe
on tinkering with the starting lineup?
I
Like,
can't believe that they were still technically somewhat in the game, even when like Mavs were going absolutely
yeah,
crazy from there. Like that shit, I
uh,
just couldn't fucking
why
believe.
we keep starting with the thinking we're with the starting lineup because Kirk cannot play the two wings together with Draymond. He'll play two of them. He'll play Wiggins and Draymond. He'll put Kaminga and Draymond, but he will not play Wiggins, Draymond, and Kaminga at the same time. It's not gonna happen, bro.
yeah,
It's not gonna happen, unfortunately. Maybe when Dennis comes, he has more confidence, and that might thing with
yeah. But
confidence. But
I'm gonna be honest with you tonight. it was just 143 to 133. Ugh, that's disgusting. Absolutely
Like,
disgusting.
at
But
what point do we have to discuss the old heads just not closing games properly?
I'm
Are we not
Rose,
going to
that's
say
the first thing I
Are we
brought
not even
up,
going to say
bro.
something about that?
The last 4 to 5 games, maybe even longer than that, it has been poor execution from Steph and Draymond in the fourth. Draymond is always throwing bad passes. Like Draymond gets the pass from Kaminga, doesn't spin, fucking loses the ball. Steph goes out there and is throwing whatever he wants, and then out of nowhere, no space, no nothing. Just says, "Fuck it, bro. I'm gonna throw one up," and he
Draymond
just
had a good game
misses.
tonight too. Like
He
he had
did.
21.
It is fucking criminal that you wasted a game when Draymond hit 5 fucking threes and he hit 21 points. We usually win those games in the past.
They wasted the game. What?
They did,
Steph had
how the
20,
hell did they waste
26.
the game? That's like a criminal offense,
Yeah.
honestly.
Steph had 26 and 10, and Draymond had 21, 7 and 4, and we lost. Shit is criminal. And then to add to it, it's not like, oh, they did everything. No, Wiggins had what? Wiggins had 29. Kaminga had 20 and 6, and we still lost. It's crazy.
Matt, what's up, Matt?
Hey y'all, it's good Space
You
Gang.
don't
It's
need to put your hands up, by the way, Matt.
good to hear from y'all again. And I hear y'all. It's like the sky is falling. So I'll just give you the perspective from a Mavs fan. I think y'all are being too hard on yourself. Now, of course, I'm gonna say that because my team won,
We keep losing. What do you mean?
but the West is deep. I mean, how many teams are above 500? This is a parity season in the Western Conference. I mean, the Spurs right now have a winning record, and they wouldn't even make the play-in tournament right now. I mean, the
Hmm.
top 11, 12 teams have a winning record in the West. Um, and I knew the game was kind of over for y'all. No offense, but I was watching, and when Steph Curry, he missed that three on an air ball, and then he missed another three. It kind of made me think that he had run out of gas. Is that what y'all saw?
Nah,
No,
we
I
Not
just
lost
think
because
he
running
just
out of
missed
Steph
gas.
couldn't
shots.
stop
It's just not good
the
decision making.
momentum from the beginning.
It's just bad basketball IQ out there. That has nothing to do with fatigue, physical
I think he
fatigue.
just missed shots, man. I mean, point blank simple.
Okay.
He just missed a shot. Like he tried to. Who did he try to quick shot? He tried a quick shot. I think it was
He didn't even need the quick shot there. It wasn't even an open shot that he took.
yeah.
And by the way, I know y'all are talking about bad defense. Y'all set a record against us on threes made. I mean, y'all made
Hey,
24
this man
threes in
Matt
the
trying to make us feel
game.
better about another L.
I know, but but I mean, it's a bummer to score 133 points and lose. I mean,
You know what's crazy though? Like he does make a good point because you know we had 103 shots, right? And they had 87. Bro, they shot the hell out. Hold up. We made 27 threes tonight?
Bro, they
Are you
shot
fucking kidding me?
60% for
And
the
we still lost.
entire game.
Circle,
The
we
whole
shot
four quarters. They
50%.
shot 60%. How are you beating any team in the league shooting 60%? I don't care who the other
Hold
players
on.
on the other team if
So
that's the
this
case.
is
Yeah, Ken
a
Grum's making
this
me
is
mad.
another game. Hold on. This is another game where I'm looking at it and I'm looking at the box score and I'm saying to myself like, how in God's name did they lose this game? Because, bro, first of all, they had 10 turnovers. That's great, right? Second of all, they had 39 assists. Okay. Dallas had 47 rebounds. We had 37. Hear me out. Dallas could miss tonight, right? So that's kind of what was going on there, right? So um but again, it's another game where we're winning the possession battle and we're losing. You know what I'm saying? And that is the part that's getting under my skin now. There's too many games where I'm watching, right? So we lose to Houston, right? On some bullshit. We are losing games again for the last 3 seasons where it's just inexplicable. This game, I don't think they would have won this game. You're not going to win this game when a player 45, 11, and 13. You know what I'm saying? Like, and then on top of it, Steph didn't really match Luca tonight. You know what I'm saying? Like 26, 10, whatever. You know what I'm saying? But just no defense tonight. Wiggins had 29. 4 assists, 3 rebounds. But if somebody's just gonna go off on you like that, bro, and you're just gonna allow it, no resistance whatsoever. There was no resistance in that quarter. Like I don't know what to tell you. Kaminga had 26 assists. That got to be a career high for him, right? I've never seen him have 6 assists in a game before. My goodness.
You
Jim
know
Park,
what?
what's going on?
We started off 12-3.
Hey, Uncle. So
Oh,
we talked before the game, and well, obviously, I had no confidence that they would have any shot at winning this game. The way this team has been coached, and well, it came to fruition again tonight. Steve, the master of not recognizing patterns. You wonder why they gave up so many points. Well, you have Jonathan Kuminga at the 4. You have no force from a defensive standpoint. You're benching Draymond, and we're getting. I don't know, man. Against serious teams, like it feels like you're getting a taste of what this team would be like without Draymond in there, manning their defense. And well, when you see that they give up 22 points in the first 4 minutes of the game, clearly their defense is not working. You need to make adjustments. And then in the third quarter, they started that lineup again and then gave up another 17 points in the first 4 minutes of the third quarter. And then Steve did it for the third time in the fourth quarter, running that exact same lineup. All right. Not being able to see the same pattern once is one thing, but to do it again and then again in the same game is the definition of insanity. You can blame Steph Curry and Draymond for the poor late game execution, but you gave up 143 points in this game. That is unserious. You don't deserve to win. If you want the Warriors to be truly great, you have to respect the process of them playing good defense throughout the course of all 4 quarters instead of praying and hoping for a fucking bailout, right? late in the fourth quarter when they can't stop shit, and you keep running these small lineups. It's like I don't know how much more evidence that you guys need to see in order to recognize that they don't have a viable closing small lineup. They haven't had it ever since they lost Otto Porter Jr., but you keep doing it over and over and over again, year after year after year, and somehow expecting different results. I don't know how many times I have to say this. Jonathan Kuminga is a 3. He is a 3. He's not a 4, just like Andrew Wiggins is not a 4. So you have 2 small forwards on the team
Pastor
next
Jim.
to Draymond, who is
So
6'6".
what lineup do you suggest then to not play small then? What lineup do
Go
you
bigger.
suggest?
It's really
Like with
simple.
who
You
though?
want
With
your
who
defense
though?
to hold
Answer the
up better?
question.
Go bigger. Go bigger.
With
Go with
who?
Trace.
With who?
Go with Looney. Whoever is
Bro,
having
Trace
the
can't
better
get a
game,
fucking
go with
rebound,
that.
bro. You can't put Trace in the game, bro. Like how many rebounds did he give up today to Gafford and Lively?
Jesus
You can't
fucking
just
Christ. How
throw
many did he
Trace into
give
the
up?
game. He
One.
gave up a lot. No, not just one. It was
He
at
gave
least
up
3
one,
possessions.
and you guys
Bro,
lose your fucking minds over a single play instead of
stop
recognizing
saying you
that
guys.
when Trace came into the game in that first quarter alongside Draymond, they finally stopped that insane momentum where they scored 33 fucking points in the first six
No,
and a
no,
half
no.
minutes of the game.
Luca
What the
just
hell
subbed
are we
out the game.
talking about,
Luca
man?
subbed out the game. That's what happened.
33 minutes in the first 6.5 minutes of the first quarter. And Draymond and Trace, they did a good job of
Luca
curtailing
subbed
whatever
out
it is
the
that they were
game.
doing. Jesus fucking Christ, man.
Luca wasn't in the
Jesus fucking
game.
Christ.
Luca wasn't
Yeah,
in the
laugh.
game. That's why the Mavs
Jesus
slowed
fucking
down.
Christ, man. You're
I can't believe.
cutting me
How you
off
saying
while I'm
TJD's
making
our
key
answer?
points
Bro,
and
you
you're
just
laughing
rant
and
every
it's
fucking
just
day.
like what the fuck?
You're blaming lineups, brother. You're blaming lineup. Our roster is not you can't play big with this fucking roster. You can't put certain guys in certain lineups. And you want to keep blaming, oh, we need to go bigger. Brother, we
This is
can't.
why I
How
can't
about
fucking
that?
be up here, man. I'm
Then get
dealing
off.
with
Then get
fucking
off.
like I'm
Dealing
dealing
with
with
what? I'm asking you a
ridiculous.
question.
Like this
This
guy's talking
lineup,
about you're
Hey,
literally
breathe,
talking
bro,
about lineups
Hey,
don't
just let him
matter.
talk real quick,
Really?
man. Then
Lineups
you can
don't
talk.
matter?
Just
bro,
let him talk, man.
you're
That's it.
What in God's name?
this
He don't
guy's
even
been
be up here
ranting.
often no more. Just
This
let him
guy
talk. Let Jim talk, man.
this guy's
Let Jim
been
cook.
ranting the whole time, and when I
Bro,
asked him
let
what
Jim
lineups to
cook.
put
God
on,
damn, boy. And then you can talk.
Breezy got a point though. I ain't gonna lie.
no, but what lineups are you supposed to put? TJD is sometimes unplayable. Looney sometimes is unplayable. Like it's a roster issue.
Yeah,
It's not a
okay, so
fucking
let's go with the small lineup
lineup
that
issue,
almost never
bro.
works. Let's just keep
Bro,
doing
we
that.
won
Let's just
championships
keep doing
playing
that.
small. Like, what's wrong with
Yeah, you have to have a proper guy that can play power forward
bro?
to play
So
those
then
lineups.
say
Otto can play
then,
power forward.
bro,
See, you don't know what
bro.
you're talking about, man. You're wasting my time.
Exactly. You're not
You're
listening.
wasting my time.
You're
Just
not
let me
listening.
talk
You're not
and let me
listening.
get my points
Hey,
off,
y'all do
and
know
then
it
I'll be
takes
off.
two to have
And
a
then you
Bro,
can
niggas just
rebuttal and
tired of
do whatever the hell
listening to
you
you, bro.
want.
it
But
takes
you're
two
just
to have a
wasting my time right
conversation.
now,
Let
man.
Bro,
one
keep
person
spewing your
talk, then
stupidity,
go.
brother. You don't blame
Calm
the truth. You
down,
don't want to
brother.
blame the real
Calm
truth.
down.
Just
That
let
guy's
one
just
person
ranting,
talk.
ranting. I don't know how everyone just
And why
lets
is
this
the
guy
Dallas
rant.
fan up
Like,
here, man? He
I don't know what
laughing,
he's
just
talking about.
he geeking off this shit. Hey, listen,
Yeah,
man.
Urkel,
Dante.
why are you allowing me to be up here and saying all these things just like Breezy say? Damn, man, what are you doing? You're
First
fucking
of
this up,
all,
man.
Bro, stop
hold
asking
on,
for a
hold on, hold on,
lawyer.
hold on, hold on. First of all, I am going to let Jim speak his mind. Brizo, I'm going to let you speak your mind. So that's pretty much what it comes down to. Jim has an opinion, you have an opinion, and we're here to argue it out. It's really that simple.
No, but that's what I'm trying to do. But when
But
I'm
I don't
trying
want to
to
have dumb conversations where
when I'm trying
somebody
to
doesn't even
ask for a
acknowledge the
conversation, the
positions
guy
that
just
players
gets
play in.
frustrated. Bro, can I just ask you a question? Let me ask you a question. Are you gonna get emotional or are you gonna answer the question?
I didn't come up here to answer your question, but go ahead.
Okay, so but that's what I mean though. You can't ask for a certain type of respect, but then you don't want to provide it. So I'm gonna ask you a question. Is this basketball roster flawed? Yes or no?
Is this
Just
roster
don't. I don't want
flawed?
you to give me a sentence. Just
They're
yes or no.
running out
Is the
lineups that are
my
flawed,
nigga,
and it
bro?
doesn't
Just
have to be
just
flawed.
yes or no. It's a
You
quick
didn't
yes
answer
or
the
no.
question.
Just
The answer
yes
is
or
yes, by
no.
the way.
Is the
The answer is
basketball
yes.
roster flawed? Yes or no? I'm gonna go
There
one
are
more. I'm gonna
some
ask three
roster
questions.
flaws. Yes, we all know that, right? We all know that.
Okay. Let me ask you another question. Is it normal for an NBA team to not have like a clear cut starting five? Yes or no?
They have a clear cut starting
No,
five. They're
no,
just
we
fucking it
don't.
up.
No, we
Steve is
don't.
fucking
No,
it
we
up.
don't. No, we don't. Just answer the question. Is it normal for an NBA basketball team within game 20 to
Well, you
not have a
say you
clear cut
don't.
starting
You
five?
say you don't. Based on what? Your opinion?
No, it's not my opinion. It's based off the numbers. But anyways, yes or no. It's a yes or no question. Just yes or no. That's it. We don't need a breakdown. You could break. I'm just gonna ask you these three questions, and I'm gonna leave.
I'm saying
Yes
they
or
have
no.
I'm saying they have lineups they
My
can play
God, man.
that'll be more successful than whatever they're doing.
Okay, but again, that's your opinion. If you believe certain guys can fit with certain guys, that's okay. Now, my third question: do you really think if you're not gonna play JK, TJD, and Draymond together, and Draymond's pushing, saying, "Yo, I don't want to play the four." How many times has Draymond said, "Yo,
Draymond
I
said
don't
he
want to
doesn't
play"?
want to play the
No,
four.
not the four, the five. I don't want to keep playing the five. And he did say JK is not a four man. Did he not say that? He said JK's a three. So how are you gonna play JK, Draymond, and TJD when Draymond, your second most important player, is telling you he's not a four? He can't play the four.
So why is Steve Kerr
He meant
playing him at the
five.
four then?
He meant five.
Listen
Why is
again.
Steve Kerr playing him at the four if Draymond said he's
Bro.
not a four?
Listen. You
You're
can't
not
play
answering any of my questions. You
Bro,
expect me
you're
to
not
answer all
answering.
your fucking
Bro,
questions.
listen. Draymond doesn't want to play the five, so he has no choice. And you know what the reason is? Because the roster is flawed, brother. You cannot play TJD, Draymond, and JK in 2024 NBA basketball.
Yeah,
You
well,
can't
who
do
said
it.
you have to play that lineup? Who said you have to play that lineup? They have Wiggins at the three. So why is
You're,
JK starting? Why does he need
oh
to
my
start?
God.
Why
You
does he
can't
need to
have
start?
Draymond and TJD as a starting front court in 2024, bro. Like you
See, you
need to
don't know what
wake
you're
up,
talking
bro.
about. You don't
Yes,
know
I
what you're talking
do.
about.
Go
You
through
don't
every
know what
Western
you're talking
Conference
about.
team. Go
Not
through
gonna
every
lie, I'm with
Western
Breezy on
Conference
this
team.
one, man.
Go through Jim Park. I'm just gonna ask you. Go through
When
every
the
single
Warriors
Western.
had
Oh
Melton,
my
you asked like
God,
four
man.
fucking questions. Enough fucking questions. Let me fucking talk now. Jesus
Because I
Christ,
realize
man.
there's no substance. You just target
He did
people, but
answer
They
your
no
had
questions,
basketball.
Breezy.
No
Melton. When
He did
they
basketball.
had
answer your questions.
Melton and they ran that starting lineup,
But Melton's not here.
they had a
You're
net
not
rating of
understanding.
21.6.
Is Melton?
21.6. And you're
Okay, but
What's
telling
the
Mel.
me
sample? But
that
what
they
We
was the
got a
can't run
better
these
sample?
Melton.
lineups
We got
with
a better
Draymond and
What
Melton.
was the
Trace.
sample size though?
Based on what? Based
But
on what?
Jim,
Because you didn't like
it's a
one
small.
box out where he
Jim,
missed a box. He didn't even mix the box out. He just couldn't rebound over Lively, who's bigger than him.
Jim
Other than
isn't
that,
it?
he did a
Isn't
pretty
it?
good job of
But
rebounding
Jim,
today. But you're not going to
what did
acknowledge that,
Jim?
are
I'm
you?
not. I'm not. I didn't say that,
Okay.
Jim. But can you admit though that that number that you just the saying the plus 21 net rating, it's a small sample size. You have to admit that.
It is a small sample size,
Okay.
we also saw a sample size last season in the final 11 games when they ran Draymond and Trace. All right, alongside
So
the only difference was Klay Thompson was in there.
What happened when the playing game started? How long did TJD last in the lineup?
Jesus
When a real
fucking
game
Christ, man.
started. When a
So
real
we're
game
gonna
started.
so you're gonna dismiss
We're
the
talking
11 game,
basketball.
bro. Urkel, can Urkel? I came up
Bro,
here to make my
TJD
point, not have
is a
a
second round
pointless
pick,
argument
bro.
with
Like,
this guy who doesn't know what he's talking about, bro.
so
I
now how
didn't
do I
come up here to
understand
have
what
a
you're
debate
talking
with
about?
this guy. I came here to make certain key points that I need to make.
Bro,
Do you mind? Can I do that?
I'm just breaking down what you're saying. Like, I don't know how you keep
You're not
asking for
breaking
help.
down anything.
Right now it's me and you talking one-on-one. I don't know why you're asking
I
for
don't
help.
want to talk to you one-on-one. You're not somebody I can have a reasonable conversation with.
Because your conversations only instill of Jim Park ranting. You don't want to listen to anything. All you want to keep saying is you have a point that you believe in. Nothing can change your mind. I'm asking you real life basketball questions, and you keep going back to, oh, this sample size is a 21 net rating.
So when I
This
give
guy,
you
I
evidence
asked,
for things, you
bro.
dismiss it. So what the fuck do
But
you want me to do?
there's
I
no
give you
reason for you to
evidence,
do.
and then you dismiss them.
I'm not dismissing it though. I
You
just told you.
literally dismissed an 11-game sample size from last season, telling me, oh, but what happened in the
Why are
play-in?
we talking about last season though? Why are we talking about last season?
Because you have a proper sample size of what can happen if you go to a bigger lineup. It took them the entire season to figure that out last season. It finally worked, and now they've gone away from it.
Can I ask you
And
a
these
question?
small lineups don't work.
If Loon didn't struggle as much as he did last year, do you think TJD would have been starting?
Probably not.
Okay,
that would have been fine.
Don't you think?
But Looney struggled, and Trace did better, and then
bro,
they
I
won a whole bunch
understand.
of games with him
Bro,
playing.
I'm not saying TJD's a bad player. I'm just saying TJD's not a starting level NBA player, and that's okay. That's not a problem. He's a backup serviceable.
Is Kevon Looney a starting caliber NBA player?
More than
on any other
Trace,
team?
We've seen that though. Like Kevon
And
Looney's much
we
more
saw it with
experienced.
Trace too, but that doesn't count for you,
But
right?
you're not.
See, this is why I'm telling you. This is a waste of my time, man. This conversation isn't going anywhere.
You're not listening. Looney is not. I'm not saying Looney's the answer either. Clearly,
All
I
right,
said
all
our
right.
team is
So,
flawed. I've said that many times.
all right. So
Looney's not the
I
answer
wanted to
either.
make some points, and it looks like I'm not going to get to make those points. So I'm out of here. Peace out. Urkel, I'm sorry. Like I wanna make my points, and then some discussions with you and some others. But
All right, so
I can't talk to a guy who's constantly
Jim.
cutting me off, and then doesn't concede to anything, and doesn't
Brother,
acknowledge anything,
every time
and then making nonsensical.
What are you talking about, bro? Like,
This is
stop being a
ridiculous,
kid, bro.
man.
Just grow up. Bro.
Breezo, have a making point, man.
No, but Urkel, every time I speak, the guy's just cutting me off. I'm not
All
crying.
right,
Sitting here crying.
Jim. Make your point, man. Please. Breezo, can you not cut him off?
I won't. I'm quiet.
All right.
Jesus fucking Christ, man. Okay. So there are some guys that the Warriors need to lose, man. They need to lose because these guys are not championship caliber, man. It's not viable. Like Buddy Hield, I mean, when this guy is bad, like he's so fucking bad. Like I don't understand how this guy plays the amount of minutes that he did when it was clear that Lindy Waters was having a really great game. Lindy Waters was having a much better game on both ends of the floor. And Steve, he kept bringing back this lineup that kept giving up these comical leads and momentum to the Mavs. Bro, that starting lineup that Steve put out tonight, they gave up like 39 points in the span of like 8 fucking minutes. All right. And then he rolled that lineup 3 separate times in the game, like I said. So Steve Kerr continues to just do nonsensical things. It doesn't matter what patterns he sees. I don't even know if he sees the patterns. I don't know if these are just pre-planned things that they decided and they're just going to do it no matter what's going on in the game or what. But, I mean, again, if you're running these lineups where they can't get any stops, right? And then you continuously run them, and then you expect the team to get stops like that. That just doesn't make any sense. But if the Warriors, they traded for Schroeder, and that's a great move. And now, this whatever has happened to this point is like it doesn't really even matter anymore, does it? Because Schroeder is going to change the complexion of this team. He's going to take over the role as the primary. He's going to start, but also he's going to play the primary backup point guard role over Pods, and that's just going to be a very different look. Steve acknowledged that there's going to be pick and rolls for Schroeder. We'll see. How much of that that's what Steve said. We'll see if he actually does it. But if you want the Warriors to gun for a title this season, there are some players that If you can't get consistency out of them in the regular season, you're not going to get consistency out of them in the playoffs. In the playoffs is where you face the best competition on the planet. And I'm not seeing that from Jonathan Kuminga. I'm not seeing that from Potts. And I'm not seeing that from Buddy Hield. And Slow Mo was wasted tonight. Slow Mo, this is
Jim,
the
what?
only, Steve Kerr is the only coach
Jim,
I've ever seen that minimizes the effectiveness of Slow Mo and makes him look unplayable. I've never
Jim,
seen
let me
anything
say
like it.
this. Jim, they got fried tonight defensively. Like within the first 4 minutes, I looked at it and I was like, oh, this is just going to be one of those nights. And, they fought back, they fought back, they fought back. And, like the beginning of that third quarter, they had to shut down to three. I was like, all right. And then the Mavericks go on like this ridiculous run. But you see the amount of mistakes that they made from the point that they got it down to three and the level of over helping left, right, and center. It was disgusting. Right. So,
Yeah, is Buddy Hield gonna be the guy that can get out to the wings and defend threes and stuff like this? No, you already have a deficit with Jonathan Kuminga at the 4, and then you put Buddy Hield next to him. Like, I mean, this is a recipe for disaster.
yeah. So
Defensively,
JK,
it's just, you can't think that it was a coincidence that every time they rolled out those lineups, the Mavs are going off every time. We've
I don't
seen
think
different
JK
segments where they
really,
play better defense, right?
I don't think JK necessarily had a bad game. Right. But there's a possession that, and he has to be better in this spot, right? In terms of positioning and all of that stuff. Like PJ Washington had him on the block and PJ Washington scored. Bro, like you
Bro,
can't allow these
everybody
guys
scored
to
on
score.
Kuminga tonight. Kyrie Irving went to town on him. All the shooters, he couldn't get out to him. The big scored on him.
Kyrie is
PJ,
different
what's
though.
his
You
name?
can't
What's his name?
Well, you can't say Kyrie because
Kyrie
he's
cooks
Um,
everybody one on
everybody.
yeah you
one,
can't
dog.
Derek
Like,
Kyrie
yeah.
cooks
Lively.
everybody.
Derek Lively. You can't get cooked. You have to force him to take a difficult shot, and if
no.
he makes that difficult shot, fine.
Jim.
But
He was
With
he's
all
making
due
he's
difficult
cooking
shots
respect,
them.
all
with
night.
all due respect, we're talking about Steph Curry, Kyrie Irving. Like, let's give Kyrie his flowers. He's a special guy. Like, we've seen Kyrie cook Andre Iguodala. We've seen him cook prom Draymond. We've seen him cook prom Steph Curry. We've seen him cook prom Klay Thompson. Kyrie is different. So, like,
You don't even
let
got to go back. You don't even got to go back that
no, I
far.
want to go back
He was
He
cooking
because
Draymond.
blew
what
by
happens is
him,
that
dude.
people forget.
He blew
Close
by him
by
with
a
the first
lot of
step.
No,
people.
again, people forget about the greatness of Kyrie, and I'm not one of those people who just like try and like talk negatively about every single person who is not in a Warriors uniform. Having said that, Jim, I respect those points. I think those are valid takes, but I would rather Kaminga give me 20 points in bad defense than Pajimski. I don't know what he gives me. I don't know what TJD actually gives me. You know what I mean? Like, just me being honest, Gafford and Lively, they had a great night tonight. And that tandem, since they became a tandem, usually complement each other well. I don't know what TJD does well. You know what I mean?
He makes your defense stronger,
Okay,
and he makes
I don't
Draymond's
believe
job
that.
easier.
I don't believe that.
Bruce.
I
Okay,
don't.
well then
I don't
I don't know what you
believe.
were watching
Yeah. Well,
when he
Okay,
played.
Jim. Hold on, Jim. Can
You
you guys
think he
hear me?
played bad
I'm
tonight?
AK,
on
You
AK,
think
Bluetooth.
Trey
AK.
played
I
bad
can hear
tonight?
you.
Taking
I
trips.
can hear you. AK, go ahead.
AK, why you
Yeah,
sound
you
like
guys
you're
can hear me. Okay.
underwater right now?
Go ahead, AK.
Okay, it might be a little. I'm sorry, I'm on Bluetooth, so it might be a little trippy. But
We can hear you.
let me just say this real quick. I know my audio is going to be asked tonight because I'm on the. Just give me a second. Let me just say this real quick about the JK thing, Jim. JK, okay? JK defensively this season and tonight. First of all, when it comes to tonight, nobody could guard tonight. So if you're going to isolate JK on some of these dudes, Kyrie possessions is one thing. Now, JK, here's the issue with JK that I see with some of the things that you say. It's this. You talk about our lineups. You talk about Steve Kerr. You talk about a guy like JK playing at the 4, playing out of position. We're playing small ball without a viable 4. We want him to be out there with Wiggins, but he's playing the 4 because Wiggins is not playing the 2. Therefore, he's not playing the 3. He's playing the 4. With that said, right? JK,
Mhm.
this season, defenders in front of JK, guarding the ball, JK 15 feet out. 15 feet and out, players are shooting 34.5% on JK. When you go inside and you look at 6 feet and in, and within 15 feet and 6 feet and in, they're shooting over 60% on JK. JK cannot, one on one, he cannot guard the high block. He cannot guard the low block. You are correct that defensively, he is not a 4. In today's NBA, offensively, with pace and space, he's a 4. Defensively, he's not a 4. So here's my thing. How can we kill JK for defense when it's about JK when it comes to defense, when he's doing what he needs to do as a wing, but when it's not about lineups when it comes to JK on
Hey,
defense. It's
AK,
okay,
about JK.
AK,
Why is it
hold
about
up,
AK,
lineups?
AK,
AK.
hold
Why is
up,
it about lineups with
Somebody
everybody
finally
else?
hit
But
Jim.
it's
Before
not.
you get that point
When it
off,
comes to
Jim,
JK,
before you
it's not
respond,
about lineups.
Jim, before you respond, right? Let me say this. Tonight, the Mavericks had a video game night, and also they were just on a different level. And I bring that into context. The reason why you can't even single out JK, Wiggins is one of the best perimeter defenders on the team, if not the best, right? Perimeter defender on the team. And Luca still had 40 plus
He dropped
points.
a 45
No,
point
hold a
triple
second, sir.
double.
Tonight's
What
Hold
are
a
you
facts,
second.
Jim.
supposed
Hold a
to
Went
second.
crazy.
do?
Hold a
They
second,
went
sir.
crazy.
Hold a second, sir. Wiggins had 40 plus points, 11 rebounds, and 13 assists. Did Andrew Wiggins not do his job? No, he did. Just like Andre Iguodala in the 2015 finals, LeBron still averaged 35 plus points, but you still did your job. And on the offensive end, you still gave effort and you made an impact. So sometimes we can get bamboozled by who scored this, who scored that, and we automatically believe said player didn't actually defend. Kaminga did a solid job. And again, if you want to get rid of Kaminga, I have no problem with it. But let's talk about Pajimski, who Clay Thompson was benched for this guy. The term was
I want
used
to.
untouchable for a guy who just played 16 minutes. He only had 3 points. Draymond Green has been in his bag this season over a guy who pretty much Clay Thompson was benched for this guy. So when you're highlighting Jonathan Kaminga, I have no problem with that. But let's not just put the microscope on Jonathan Kaminga. Let's put the microscope on everybody. And you know what? I'm gonna be honest with you. If you do the math, out of 24 games, 25 games played, Buddy Hill's probably been a negative 9 times. Go and check the facts. TJD has been a negative more times than that. And so I think Buddy is in the issue. Tonight was just a fabulous night by Dallas. This is probably one
Tonight,
you heard
Bruce. Tonight, we should not judge anybody defensively based on tonight, guys. We were one.
listen,
In any other game tonight, they would have won.
We weren't.
Kalena said
We were
But
only
it was a
close in
video
this
AK.
game
game
a
the
couple
other night.
times.
Kalena
We
said
got fucking destroyed.
if you listen to the playcast Kalena mentioned earlier, if you were to take the statistics that Golden State was putting up early on, it would have made them win every single game they just recently lost on that stand that it just went on. Right?
Can I,
So it was a phenomenal game for Golden State, but an even better game for Dallas.
yeah, I mean,
You know what I mean? So we got to be careful.
Like,
We got
bro,
to
if
Bro,
they
let me,
played against like this
Bruce,
against
Bruce,
the
Bruce. I'm gonna be
Rockets, they
honest
would
with
have
you,
won. They would
right?
have won.
This whole year, we've been saying lean defense, lean defense. This is the worst game that I've
yeah,
seen
but
in terms of.
Irk, do you mind if I give another perspective? Like, I just want to give
Go
just
ahead.
one perspective, and I am a Dallas fan, but I'm
Yeah.
not speaking from a Dallas perspective. I don't really care about this win. Like, we're spending a lot of time talking about defense. I honestly think is watching that game, like that was one of the best shooting displays I've ever seen, personally. Like, literally set the 3-point record, 48 threes between both games. You guys set your franchise record, 18 threes and a half. Like, at some point, like, you got to chalk it up to the fact that these dudes are just professional. They're just some of the best players in the world. Like, we can talk about the granular details and the minutia about defense. You can't do that this game because Dallas gave up 133. Like, what? Like, they gave up 133. Like, come on. I mean, we're talking about defense in a game where Dallas was like what, top 7?
Dallas is a mediocre team this year. Dallas is a mediocre team
What
this
do you
year. The
mean? They
Warriors
just won.
showed the
They
Warriors
won
showed that they were a
7
dominant
against
team
9.
for the first 11 games
They've won
until
9 of their
until they
last 11
until they
games.
I'm
reverted
just
to
making a
some
point. Why are you?
Dude,
bullshit
we're
Why
not
are
They've
you?
lineup.
won
mediocre.
Why?
9 out
What
of
the
their
fuck
last
are
Bullshit.
you
11. They're
talking
on
I'm
about?
just
fire
trying
right
to
now.
make a point.
What?
Why are you crashing out, dude? Like, Jesus Christ! Like, relax, dude. We're just talking. My point was like before, dude just went like, what the
The
fuck is?
Mavs are the 4 seed, by the way.
That wasn't even a valid point. The dude's just crashing out. But like I was saying, like,
Well, you're comparing the Warriors to the
oh
Mavs,
shit.
and I'm
I'm
just trying
not
to tell you.
comparing. I literally didn't make a comparison. Like, if you just calm down, dude, like, go take a walk or something, dude. Like, chill. Just chill, bro. We're just talking. Like, chill out. I didn't make a comparison. Like your life, like you're not gonna die off of this game, bro. Like relax. Like I'm kind of worried for you, dude. Like just chill. What I was saying is I wasn't making a comparison. I was saying we're spending ample time trying to emphasize defense in a game where it was clear to me watching the game, because many of those shots were contested shots on both sides. This is what you get when, because Dallas had 4 days off. I think the Warriors had like 4 days off. This is what you get when dudes are just on their shit. They're just making shots. It was a high clip tonight on both ends, like from both teams. It's like we want to discuss defense in a game where, like, look at the numbers. Shit was astronomical. These dudes are just hitting shots from every angle. And like nobody can stop anybody. That was my point. I'm not comparing to say somebody's better. I literally started by saying I don't care about this win. I'm saying nobody can stop anybody from making shots. Like why are we focusing on defense in a game like this?
No, we're talking. First of all, we're talking about lineups throughout the season, right? In different defensive divisions that we see. This is why I said you should not use anybody guarding anybody tonight as a even like
barometer.
a one-off.
Like it's not a barometer.
It's not.
And that's a
As
valid
you
and
said,
that's
like
a
this was a game that there was an NBA record in threes made, right? So
like it was
not
record
a good
set
example.
tonight.
I mean, there's a reason that happened,
This is not a
AK.
game that
AK, I just want to respond to you about what you
Bro.
said in regards to what the. AK said something to me as a response to something I said. I would like to respond to him if you don't mind.
Yeah, but dude, you're cutting people off, making
Jim,
invalid points, and
Jim, that's me.
Like,
Hey,
I don't get it.
Let go.
Jim,
Let him
Jim.
go ahead.
Respond, Jim, please. Go ahead.
Okay, I'm gonna say that point, and then I'll be out of here. And then Tony, you can go off. AK, as you know, I've been saying get Steve Kerr out of here. Are they getting Steve Kerr out of here? No. And if he's not out of here, then are they going to continue to run the small lineups? Yes. And if they continue to run the small lineups, who's going to end up at the 4, no matter what we feel about whether JK belongs at the 4 or not? It's going to be JK, isn't it? Do you agree or disagree?
No, not necessarily. Because the lineup, Jim, that they have refused to try, when we started the regular season, they tried it with Trace. They tried Trace at the 5. Okay, they went away from it quickly. They put Steph at point guard. They put Wiggins at the 2. Wiggins is spacing the floor this season. He's shooting like damn near over 40% from 3. JK at the 3. Draymond at the 4. TJD at the 5. They went away from that. Looney currently this season is outplaying TJD. They haven't for 1 second, Jim, tried Looney at the 5 in that lineup. Not for 1 minute.
AK,
they haven't tried. Jim has 0 minutes lost. So I'm just saying, if you're gonna kill a guy who is
AK, you got cut off. We can't hear you. But
Jim, go ahead.
But here, AK, you're talking about Looney. That is not a small lineup, man. The small lineup is with Draymond at the 5. The small lineup does not include Looney or Trace. It puts Draymond at the 5, which means somebody has to play the 4. Okay? Who is that somebody? Do they actually have that somebody? The closest thing that they do have is Slow-Mo, who didn't get a single minute in this game because they wanted to play JK at the 4 and bench Draymond. Okay, so needless to say, that is not a viable path. And again, I appreciate you're wanting to try Looney at the 5 and go with that other iteration where you put Wiggins at the 2, Kuminga at the 3. That's something that I was also okay with them trying. If they're going to do that, obviously they have to run a different offense, right? Because that's not a lineup that is conducive to the motion, right? Again, Looney playing the 5 is not a small lineup, AK. That is not a small lineup. The small lineup is Draymond at the 5, right?
Jim, really quickly, my apologies. Can you just say what you said again, like in the last 30 seconds? I completely lost connection. I couldn't hear you.
Yes. You brought up Looney at the 5, and I'm telling you that is not a small ball lineup. The small ball lineup, as you know, is Draymond at the 5, right? Which means you have to put somebody else at the 4.
Yep.
Okay, so this is what I'm saying. This is okay. Starting lineup. You're talking about starting lineup, but.
I'm talking about starting lineup.
Yeah. Right. But what matters is the closing lineup. If they continue to roll out these small lineups where Draymond is at the 5, right?
Okay, but
that
Jim,
means somebody has to play the 4, and they're almost always putting JK at the 4.
Don't have to.
You got cut out again. Yeah, AK, we can't hear you,
I'm
unfortunately.
sorry, bro. Can
AK, we can't hear you,
you
man.
hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, my fault. Sorry, my connection's absolutely shit today. I was just saying, look, you're right in that sense, but they don't have to close small against every single matchup. There are matchups that you don't need to close small, and they have not once, when they don't go small, tried that lineup. Now, when you talk about small ball, in that situation, you're looking at a lineup that's Dennis Schroeder, who can guard, Steph Curry, Wiggins, Kuminga, and Draymond. Then you're in a situation where Kuminga is back at the four. But if that lineup can lock down on the perimeter against certain matchups, you may be able to run that lineup. I'm just saying, if we're talking about lineup optimization, and we haven't even optimized going big, and when we go small, we have guys out of position, then we haven't optimized big or small. So I'm just saying, if we're talking to guys and where guys are guarding and where they're not able to guard, at the very minimum, let's understand where they should be. Because if we're saying one guy can't guard inside and he can't guard, if he can't guard out inside and he can't guard outside, but every single time he's closing, he's guarding inside, well, then you're basically going to have to outscore the other team in crunch time. And how many times this season have we seen this team in the last 5, 6 minutes, 3 minutes, 4 minutes of the game not score a single point?
Right. And that happens whenever they go small, right?
Say that
That
again.
happens when they go overly that happens, but that always happens when they go overly small, right?
Well, they've rarely closed big, but even if they were to close big, unless they go super high PNR, they're not going to
Hey,
get buckets in those actions either
hey, look, I'm not gonna hold y'all
that
boys.
we've
I
seen.
love
Because
both of
we've seen
y'all.
guys come
Pause.
off of a
You
step
feel
trap
me?
and not be able to make them.
AK,
We've seen
AK, I'm not gonna hold
clown
you.
shit
I'm not gonna
in the
hold
in
you.
the clutch time this
What
season
what do you
from
got?
everybody.
Loon in the starting lineup. What do you got? Loon in the starting lineup. You got TJD in the starting
Is my
lineup.
shit
And like
cooked
I
again?
said, yeah, it's kind of cooked though. I'm
No,
not
no,
gonna
no.
hold you.
You were fine, but Bruce kind of cut you off, man.
Yeah, but with plenty of respect, no disrespect intended. You know what I mean? I'm just keeping it a whole buck with y'all boys. I don't see the vision for like you see, Loon is Teflon. There's nothing he could do wrong for me to not be, on that bandwagon. But like me personally, I'm just trying to figure out. I'm seeing other centers give their team 10 points. I'm seeing Jakob give 16 points. I'm seeing Vucevic give 21 points. I'm seeing Gafford and Lively consistently be a complementary tandem. I don't see that for the Warriors. You know what I mean? And even though it's fine. The Warriors have technically extincted the big man. Like they've won chips with Zaza. They've won chips with Jordan Bell giving big minutes. They've won chips with, I understand, Damian Williams on the roster. I'm just saying, bro, at the end of the day, I feel like while we're focusing on, like, for example, a Jonathan Kaminga who's giving you 20 points, if you don't value that, fine. I respect your opinion. But I'm looking at the others. I'm looking at Pods, who, to me, I don't think he'd do anything better than passing the ball and taking charges, right? And then I'm looking at TJD, 40% on layups this season. Steph Curry is more efficient than you, and Steph Curry is a small, scrawny guy. And if you've seen Steph Curry in real life and you've seen TJD, there's no reason why Steph Curry should be more efficient inside the perimeter or restricted area because TJD, you don't leave the restricted area. So you should be finishing a game with at least 10 to 12 points. And the fact that you can't do that, to me, I'm putting an indictment on you. So while we're here talking about like Kaminga and all these guys, if we're going to get a star back, I have no problem with it. You know what I mean? But if we're just getting rid of players because we don't like how they feel and we don't think they're as impactful as, you know what I mean, we want them to be, we gotta hold every single individual accountable, and that's why with like Buddy Hill, I'm not gonna be upset with Buddy Hill because he's been very impactful. If you just vision the entire season, he's had an impact, and yeah, he's had a few games, but particularly some of the games that he hasn't been impactful is not even his fault because they've like said, okay, we're gonna bring you in the starting lineup, we're gonna put you on the bench. Now we're gonna play with these guys. Now we're not gonna play with these guys. For him as a shooter and just looking to get to his spots and looking to knock down a shot, it changes when you're changing the continuity of that roster. So tonight, again, it's been said several times. The Dallas Mavericks were just on a video game mode tonight. The Golden State Warriors actually did very good. You know what I mean? There's nothing else they could have done. Yeah, Draymond try to throw a lob like he throwing it to Angels. Yeah, Steph Curry, you settle a few times here and there, but you know what I mean. I don't see another team playing like this for the next foreseeable future, like the next couple days. But yeah, we got to be realistic, man. We got to be
Bro, so
realistic as far
you
as
honestly like I don't know if you heard me properly when I said that there are some guys that I feel are not championship caliber on this
I did.
team.
I did. You
And the
said they're
names
not
that
viable.
okay, but the
I agree
names that
with you,
I
Jim. I
stated,
agree with you about some of the
no.
guys.
Hold on. The names that I stated were Pods, Buddy, and Jonathan Kuminga.
But
And you spoke as if I didn't mention Pods. Like, how come I'm talking about Kuminga but not Pods?
no,
I did
not
talk
that.
about Pods. I said Pods will not even play. Hopefully, he won't even be playing when
Jim,
Schroeder is on
Jim,
the team,
Jim,
right? I
you're
did say that.
Jim, you're my guy, bro. You understand that? What I'm telling you is that we agree with the pods. But what I'm saying is, if you look at all Buddy did to start the season, if you still want to get rid of him, again, if you're bringing in a star player, I trade everybody. If you're bringing in a star player, but if it's
Buddy's
just
an aberration. What he did in the early part of the season was clearly it was an aberration because
man,
he is consistently not good
But
on
Buddy
defense, and he is very inconsistent
he had a
offensively.
career high. He had a career
If he's
high.
not scoring, then
The
he's
last
really
game,
not giving you much. He's a
the
cone,
last
and you
game, he
put him
had a.
next to Jonathan Kuminga, and really severely, anytime they have given up these comical amount of points, 30-point leads given up, and all this, it was
Jim,
combination with Jonathan
Jim,
Kuminga and Buddy Hield on the floor at the same time.
Jim, the
That is a
last
fact.
game, Buddy Hill had a career high 3 blocks. What are you talking about?
So Buddy Hield actually had a nice defensive game the last game. I give that to you. But on most nights, he's not doing that,
Yeah,
right?
but see,
So you can't look at an
hold a second,
aberration and then
Jim.
say that, oh,
Okay,
well, this is going
okay,
to be good come
Jim,
playoffs.
Okay, all right.
I think you have a
Beautiful point.
favoritism
Beautiful.
towards Buddy Hield for whatever reason, but he's
No.
not
Hear me out.
championship caliber.
Hear me
I'm
out,
sorry,
Jim.
he's not.
I can expound. Give me a second. Let me expound. I don't even need 30 seconds. The Warriors started off 18-2 with Jordan Poole, and nobody cared about Jordan Poole's defense. He wasn't blocking shots. He wasn't beating his chest. He was playing good offense, and that's what they needed from him. They made up the defense on the other ends. Buddy Hill was strictly signed to shoot. If you defend, that's kudos to you. But we're not signing you to be Tony Allen or Bruce Bowen on
Well,
defense.
that's not good enough, Bruce. If you want to win a championship, you need guys that are 3-and-D across the board as much as possible. And if you have cones in your rotation, that's going to hurt your odds of being able to win a title.
So let me ask you a question, Jim. Why didn't GP2 play more minutes tonight? And he's the elite defender.
Why didn't he?
Mm-hmm.
It's a good question. He was +6 for the game in the 11 minutes that he played.
But you tell me why? Why didn't
Buddy
this?
Hield was -19 in the 27 minutes he
No,
played.
but
Even Lindy Waters was way better than him. And Steve just wanted to roll him out there anyway.
educate everybody that may be listening who might not be in tune as we are. Why didn't Gary Payton get more minutes tonight with the elite defense he usually displays?
Ask Steve Kerr. What do you think is the reason, Bruce?
I think because he was a negative on offense. He provided nothing besides 2 putbacks.
You
They
really
leaving
don't
him on.
value defense much at all, Bruce. Like, you don't like GP2. You
I
don't like
love
Trace. You don't
no.
like the guys that
Hold a
make the
second.
most impact for them
Hold a
defensively.
second, Jim. I got a
And
pair
you
of
favor the guys that are
I got a
least
pair of
impactful
Nikes.
defensively.
I have a pair of Nikes in my closet, the gloves. I actually know who Seattle Supersonic Gary Payton is, and I actually appreciate that legacy. So you can't tell me I don't appreciate Gary Payton II. Okay, I appreciate him, but if you have no impact offensively, and backpack Draymond is making threes, right? And you can't knock down a shot, you have no value offensively. You're Harrison Barnes 2.0. Like, let's keep it a buck.
Barnes could score though.
Barnes could score it. You're damn right about that. And we sent his ass to another team, didn't we?
Yeah.
Okay,
Look, Bruce, let me say this real quick on Buddy.
go ahead, G.
Buddy, you're right, was never signed. Buddy was signed to space the floor. Now, when you get to the postseason, if you get 15 minutes, 13 minutes of Buddy Hield in the postseason, spacing the floor, if that is going to be what breaks your defense in a postseason to lose series, you have way bigger problems defensively than Buddy Hield. If 13, 15 minutes of Buddy Hield is going to kill your defense, it should not kill your defense. At the end of the day, Buddy Hield is going to be up and down. Buddy Hield in the last 5 years leads the NBA in threes. He's out there. He should be the probably ninth guy, eighth guy on the floor in the postseason to space the floor. It's very simple. I don't think we should get fixated on a guy who has a very defined
Yeah.
role. If that's the guy that's going to break your defense, you're fucked on defense. It has
Yep.
nothing to do with him.
AK, you
That
have
guy
to
should not break
think
your
about
defense.
you have to think in conjunction with who he's playing with. Okay, and so if he's a problematic defender, and bro, you should know this. Like defensively, if you have a single guy that is breaking your defense down because you're not good enough defensively, that breaks the structure of how good your defense can be.
Jim,
If a guy,
let me give you a lineup really quick. Hold on, let me give you a lineup really quick. Okay, first of all, let me say this within the context of, I don't know what in the world is going on with Kyle Anderson. We signed Kyle Anderson for a reason. Kyle Anderson is the guy that's supposed to be backing up Draymond. When he's been out there, he shows you that he can guard the perimeter. He shows you that he can guard the high block. He shows you that he can help. He can draw charges, and he can get steals. It makes absolutely no sense for that guy to not be on the floor. Let's just assume that come playoff time, that guy's going to be on the floor. Let me give you a lineup. You got, let's say, off of the bench, you got Dennis, you got Buddy, let's say you got JK, you got Kyle, and you got Looney or TJD. That lineup defensively should not get shattered. You agree, Jim? It shouldn't.
I think that lineup is actually. I don't like it. I don't think Kuminga. I don't think Kuminga is a powerful defender, and I think Buddy Hield is a negative defender.
Jim,
and you have two neutrals like that on the floor at the same time.
On the perimeter, 15 feet and out, players are shooting a lower percentage on Kuminga than Andrew Wiggins this season. Andrew Christian Wiggins, who is the best defender on this team. You cannot say he's not guarding the perimeter.
Let's think about this for a second.
You can say he's not guarding his, but on the perimeter, at least this season, he's taken a leap. He's guarding. Straight up.
Let me ask you. And I still think that the Warriors are going to do deals anyway. I don't think they're done making deals, so we'll see what happens. But just for the sake of this argument, let's say the Warriors end up facing the Mavs in the playoffs, right? Are you going to like the odds of Jonathan Kuminga putting up whatever those numbers that you just read out against the Mavs? If he ends up having to guard Kyrie for extended stretches, if he has to.
Jim, you've been watching basketball for a long time. Sometimes, outside of the usual suspect, to me, Kuminga hasn't earned the usual suspect title yet. Usual suspects are the Stephs, the Clay at the time, the Andre Iguodala, the Draymonds. I wouldn't even consider Harrison Barnes the usual suspect, right? So having said that, could it be if this is the particular matchup, if it's not a series for him, it's just not a series for him. That happens. Where a guy may
That cannot
struggle.
happen. You
No,
cannot
that's
be a
not
critical part
come
of
on.
the
Come on,
Warriors'
Jim. You're smarter
wing
than that. You're smarter than
depth,
that.
and then
Here's
say
what I
that
think.
what
Jim,
you're gonna lose
Jim
that
and
series.
Bruce.
Yeah, go ahead.
Jim,
Go
Jim.
ahead.
Here's what I think. I think that once we got down by how much we got down, it became like a real fast-paced game.
Yeah,
And I don't think this was a slow-mo game. You know what I'm saying? Like you see like when the game is in the mud, Steph is getting trapped and you need like the connective passer thing and all of that. I think that's when you get slow-mo back in it. That's
Uncle,
when slow-mo is going to shine. You know what I'm saying?
Uncle,
But
I think
in a
Slow-Mo
game
played like
like
4
this,
minutes against the Rockets the last game. Like he's not playing, bro. And he should be able to play well against the Rockets. And they won a game in overtime with Slow-Mo closing that game early in the season. Do you remember?
yeah.
Yeah. So Slow-Mo's just not getting minutes. Like Steve is not playing him. So this is a huge problem. The guys that need to be in rotation are not being in rotation because they're prioritizing some other stuff for quote unquote experimentation. This is a mess, man. Championship caliber teams aren't experimenting like this to this extent where they bench one of their most important defensive guys in Draymond for the sake of experimentation. You should know that is not a good experiment to run. Like we've seen Kuminga for years now, and it sucks talking about Kuminga in this way. Kuminga's got a lot of talent, and I think he has a bright future ahead of him, but it's just championship caliber is a whole different animal. That's how I'm looking at it.
I don't know, man. It's rough to see
I,
the kid had 20 and 6
and
tonight, and
and
we're here
and and
talking
and
about it
that's
like
what
this.
I'm saying because
Yeah,
like
it just sucks
you know
for
what I
him.
mean.
He's playing the power forward position, by the way, and it's like you guys kill Trace for not being able to grab certain rebounds here and there. He has 3 rebounds. Nobody says a peep
Yeah, but
about
Jim,
that,
you have
right?
to admit, man, like Trace is
Gassing 3
down there, and
rebounds.
he's no. Trace is down there, and he like look. like one, it just looks like he's in his own head, and two, you know what I'm saying? Like he's just getting bounced around. You know what I'm saying?
Bro, he had
Like
a good game tonight. Like I don't know why you
no,
guys are
no, no,
talking
no,
about like past
no.
performance. Like tonight, he had a
Jim.
good game.
I'm not talking about tonight. I'm talking about in general. Like he's like my girlfriend is beside me, right? And she's like, why is he? She's literally calling him soft. You know what I'm saying? Like the whole year, and she knows nothing about basketball,
Hey
bro.
yo,
She's
we
like, oh, he's playing kind of soft, and I'm like,
Not good look.
I'm not even gonna take that away. The notion that he has shown some issues where he's
yeah,
softer than he should be, right? But
pause,
that doesn't change
pause.
the fact that when you think about the combination at the 4 and the 5 for a long stretch of any quarter, right? You have to look at the overall picture of what's happening and stop worrying so much about one isolated incident here and there where he's not great. If you want to talk about poor rebounding, centers, there's a lot of them. Miles Turner is a really poor rebounder, and he's a much worse
Yeah,
rebounder
but
than Trace is.
Miles,
Um,
but
Brooke
here's my
Lopez is
thing.
a
Don't,
terrible rebounder. There's a lot of centers that are
no,
not
but
that
you
great
can't,
at rebounding.
you can't leave out
But and I'm
context
not
though,
even excusing Trace. Like we
Jim.
all need Trace to be more forceful and rebound better, and he did that today. He had 6 rebounds in 14 minutes, but
Jim,
nobody wants to give him any credit for that.
Jim,
Uh,
two things, Jim. You can't leave out context while you're educating everybody tonight. Miles Turner usually plays on the perimeter because he's a great 3 point, not great, he's a good 3 point shooter,
What's
and
that got
so
to do with defense, bro?
no,
On defense, he's
but
not
no,
shooting threes.
but hear me
He's
out. I got
guarding,
you.
right?
I got you. I'm gonna finish. He's led the NBA in blocks 2 years, so he has a scoring title for blocks, or block title twice, and could have won it. I want to say 3 times. So at least he's proven that he can block shots, which essentially people equate that with centers. And so even if TJD isn't doing that, that's fine because that's not the end all be all. But I just still think again, when your father has played the game, when you're 4 years in college, and when you have done things well, given the freshman season you had last year or the rookie season you had, I don't think you can come into this season in a particular this particular echelon. This team is usually playing for titles. There are too many times where you're getting boxed out by a Jalen Green, and you're getting boxed out by guys that are completely small. And it's neither here nor there. My biggest gripe with the two centers is that to me they're just horrible at finishing. Close to the rim, putbacks, layups, free throw lines that make it even worse. You know what I mean? But it is what it is. I'm not even worried about their performance. I'm focused on other guys who the brass use words like untouchable because I'm trying to fathom and grasp every single thing as to why they would use the word like untouchable. I can't see it. You know what I mean? I genuinely think some people is cheeks on the team. Like they're not good. You know what I mean?
No,
Like
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. But don't. Then we can't play favoritism in that regard. The only reason for me, I will always prioritize defensive guys over guys who may be good offensively, but not reliable enough defensively. That is the perfect recipe to not be able to go far in the playoffs. That you will get completely exposed in the playoffs if you're limited from a defensive standpoint. And shit, man, Trace is less than $2 million, and he gives you like fantastic. My comparison for Trace is like Goga, right? Goga doesn't do any of the stuff that y'all are talking about either. Doesn't go out and shoot the threes mid range or anything. He is a inside the paint guy, defends and finishes. And these guys are really powerful. As you see, the role that he plays for the Magic, despite his whatever limitations he may have from an offensive standpoint, these are the kinds of players that you're gonna need. Okay, so but shit, if they can go and get like Nick Richards or something at this point and swap out Trace, go do that. Whatever is going to help the Warriors defend better and have enough defenders around them. I think they have plenty of offensive guys at this point, and they just need to make sure that their defense is solid for all 4 quarters. So that's where I'm at. At the end of the day, and that's it, man. That's it. Like this team's gonna look very different with Schroeder, so we'll start breaking it down from Urkel from that standpoint. It's this,
yeah.
this was an average. We can kind of forget about what's happened up to this point because they're gonna be a different team now. But
Jim, let me say this, right?
yeah,
You bring up Schroeder. Pods has lost all confidence now.
Yeah,
Every single bit of confidence that he had, it's all gone, right? And it's going to be interesting going forward because, like, like you bring in Dennis and it just kind of like you bring in Dennis and you're just looking at it and you're like, well, shit, where the hell is Pods going to play at this point? You know what I'm saying? I'm like,
Yeah,
I don't see it. You
yeah.
know what I'm saying? Like,
He's gonna have to shorten his rotations when Schroeder arrives. Like he can't continue to play.
ugh.
But he's got to put in the right guys. And tonight they ran a 10-man rotation, right? And in order to play the 10-man rotation, they took out Slow Mo, and that's not right. He's a key piece that they picked up for $8 million per year, and
I'm
they
gonna keep
didn't
it a
play him at
buck
all.
with you,
That's
Jim.
insane.
I'm gonna keep it a buck with you. I like slow mo, and I'm desperately wanting him to play more minutes. But when I see stuff like that, Jim, I don't see the basketball philosophy on it. I'm looking like, okay, he's probably in trade talks right now, and that's just maybe me overthinking it. But nothing else makes sense. You know what I mean? Like he's a positive player. We know the impact he brings when he's on the floor.
Is it cooked, bro? What happened?
What?
AK, you might need to double back.
Is the audio? You guys there?
We're
Yeah,
here.
we
Drop
I'm
and
here.
come
here.
back, AK.
Yeah,
Okay.
double back. Yeah, but to me, Jim, that's the only thing that I could think of. Like, Kyle not playing, even though Urkel made a good point. As far as in, the games that he can really thrive in, even outside of a game like tonight, the only thing that could tell me is that like probably they got him in trade talks. Because nothing else makes sense as to why a player like that caliber wouldn't be on the floor.
Yeah, it tonight, bro. Like I was just looking at tonight, and it just really got under my skin. I was like, these dudes, bro. They started off the game 9-9. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
that was
Like,
nasty. That was
you
nasty.
know what I'm saying? Just 9-9. But on top of it, like the defense was just being collapsed and driving kicks, and then Luca got people on an island, and then Jim is right about one thing, man. I didn't like that Buddy thing tonight. I looked at the Buddy thing and I was like, fuck, like defensively, and he's going up against Kyrie, and when they see Buddy in an island, then they're over helping, and
I'm sorry.
next thing you know, bing bang boom.
He's not even seeing simple passes to make, man. He's missing it like simple
Yeah,
passes on top of everything else he wasn't doing tonight. So I don't know why he's
yeah.
playing 27
So
minutes
Jim,
in a
so
night when
Jim,
he's completely disastrous.
Jim, let me ask you a question. If they would have started Pods instead of Buddy tonight, you think it would have been a better experience? What you think?
He probably would have done more than Buddy. I'm not even saying that Paz should have started over Buddy. I'm just saying if you see evidence that Lindy Waters is having a much better game and he's much more in rhythm, then why would you not play him more than Buddy and then go and again continue to go back to that exact lineup that completely like the game was lost from the get go, man. They gave up 33 points in the
You know
first
what's
six
wild
minutes.
though? Bruce, Bruce,
Yo, yo,
Bruce.
yo.
I'm looking at the season, and Steve, bro, Steve is there talking about the roster is loaded, this, that, and the other, bing, bam, boom.
Man, I think that
And
was just a trade bait, man. It had to be, bro. He was lying.
trade bait about
He
what?
was lying, dude. He wasn't being honest.
No, no,
What you mean? They started
but
nine
it's
and
like,
two.
Yeah, but
bro,
what I'm saying
my
is,
thing is this, right?
yeah,
My thing is this: is that I'm looking at this roster, and I was like, that was his justification to do that bullshit,
yeah.
bro.
That's what
Like,
I'm saying. Like it don't make
you
no
know that we're
sense.
playing 12 people. You know what I'm saying?
Hit me out.
They were playing 12
Hit
people.
me out. Jim was saying something earlier, right, Eric, about Steve Kerr and his tactics, right? If you pay attention to these coaches, they stick to their philosophy. So for like Coach Tibbs, he's gonna play guys 35 to 40 minutes. You play Luol Deng through the ground. You playing Derrick Rose through the ground. We seen OG Ananobi break down last year. We seen so many players on the Knicks break down. And doesn't matter if Tibbs is in Minnesota, doesn't matter if he's assistant in Boston, it doesn't matter if he's in New York. He's gonna stick to his philosophy, right? Oh, if he could sign Taj Gibson and have Taj Gibson give minutes at center, he's gonna do it because that's what he knows. These coaches are not changing from their philosophy, bro. So we know Steve Kerr gonna be Steve Kerr. And lo and behold, he got another small guard. Thank God this one can actually defend, but we know he's gonna be playing
You
small
know,
rotations.
you know what I would do? Wiggs at the two, JK at the three, Draymond at the four. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I
Like
would do it. I would do it.
let's
I would do it.
let's just stop all this BS where you're
Especially,
putting
especially with the
come
way
on,
Wiggins
man.
is shooting. He was shooting 42% before the game
Yeah.
started
If they
for
play
the
a different
season.
offense, that can work. If they run the motion, which Steve will never stop running, it's not going to be successful. You think that's going to be successful? You
No.
run the motion, that
Jim,
lineup?
No.
Jim,
It's not.
you know he's not gonna stop running them.
That's what I'm saying. That's why you don't put Wiggins at the two, because he's not a ball handler. He's not a creator. And you need these different pieces to make the motion work, right? And that's the problem. That's the problem with wanting to run that lineup. Yes, on any other team, any other coach, they could try that lineup and simplify the offense. And yes, it could work, but not for this team. And these are the things that I put into consideration when I talk about which lineups are viable, which ones are not, and then which guy is viable and which one won't be.
But Jim, at the end of the day,
Oh, we can hear you
they
clearly, AK.
started. Yeah, I finally connected to my actual internet.
Yeah, we can hear you clear.
You can finally hear the at the end of the day, they did go and start a dude who Steve said, and he's been fine. He's actually been a fine player, Lindy Waters, in the minutes that he's played. But at the end of the day, he shouldn't be. He had a stretch where he was playing over 30. They played a dude who Steve Kerr said with pouting, with a frown on his face, that I had to tell certain dudes at the beginning of the season that they will not get on the floor this season. And we have a lot of guys that should be out there. We can't play everybody. Jim, they went and tried that before they went back to Wiggins at the two and Kaminga at the three. And that's with Wiggins knocking down shots. That's crazy. I understand what you're saying, but the alternatives and the loops and tricks and dances and the breakdancing that they've done with these lineups without going and trying probably the second most obvious thing in front of you is ridiculous.
So,
It doesn't make any
so is
sense.
that a Steve Kerr problem?
Yes, of
You
course.
want Steve Kerr out of here?
Do I want him out of here? Some nights I do, yes.
Okay, well, that's the problem, is that I've been trying to convey that message for a very long time, because this guy is fraudulent. Somebody came up before talking about, I need to calm down and relax, and we're just talking. Well, this is right after a game, right after the Warriors lose another game, where they're now one game back from the 10 seed, and 1.5 games back from being out of the play-in, and this guy is telling me to calm down. And it's like, well, I guess you're just not as serious. You don't care as much about what's going on with this team. And you know what I'm saying? Like, you either
But
care about
Jim,
it or you don't.
but
And
Jim, it's still
and
early
Steve
in the season,
Kerr
bro.
and Steve Kerr is, bro, like, these, I don't know how many times I have to say this, but these players, the preparation that goes into playing every single regular season game, and then people acting like, oh, well, this is a regular season, so you can experiment and it doesn't matter. Well, what about the players that are putting it on the line, getting injured left and right? Possibly you risk, career-ending injuries, season-ending injuries, month-long injuries. These are the things that the players have to risk to go to war. The game of basketball is mental warfare, physical warfare at the highest level when it comes to the NBA. And you're telling me to calm down? Like, what the fuck, man? This is the kind of bullshit that I just
Jim,
can't fucking
let me
deal
say
Jim,
with.
this, right?
Jim.
Now that we got Dennis, there's no excuse, right? There has been four in NBA history that have gone through a season and they have played 10 guys 10 plus minutes. We would be the first team in NBA history to play 12 guys 10 plus minutes. Now that you got Dennis, if these lineups aren't at the very minimum consolidated, and look, if some guys that are some guys' favorite players are getting DNPs, for in a 2 week stretch, if they have DMPs for every single game except for one, so be it. Guess what? At the end of the day, you're some of these guys are basically rookies. They're basically rookies. They might as well be rookies, right? So if you're gonna get in a DMP and this guy's getting a DMP, another guy's getting a DMP, we're going 9 guys deep. There's nothing wrong with that. That's what everybody else in the NBA is doing. Everybody else. This is nuts. You can't be the first team to play 12 guys 10 minutes. You can't. This is fucking insane. You can't do that. So now that we got Dennis, if Dennis is the two, if that shit is dead, forget about the wings at the two and the three. If that's done with, and Dennis is your two guard, then you have to find a starting five. If Dennis is because that's why we didn't have, right, Steve. That's why we didn't have a starting five. We didn't have a starting five because we threw in Mo and we threw in Buddy and we threw in Lindy and we threw in all these guys at the two. We might as well have fucking throw in Pat Spencer at one and put Steph at the two with the experimenting that we were doing. Might as well, right? Just start Pat Spencer. So if we're not doing that shit anymore, and Dennis is the two, like they say, you have no reason, not one, to not have a starting five. Every team, every single team, you go half of the bracket in the conference and go up. Every single one of those teams, unless they have an injury on any given night, I can rail it off the top of my head who's their starting five right now.
Who do you want the three forwards to be when once Schroeder is in the starting lineup?
Well, they're going to start. They're going to start Dennis.
Yeah. So who are
So,
the other three forwards?
well, they're not starting small, are they? They're closing small. It looks like.
Who's going to be the starting lineup? You think?
I think it's going to go Dennis. It's going to now they've been, but Jim, there's the thing. They've been starting small. So let's just assume that they're going to close small and they're going to go back to starting big. I'm just going to assume they're going to start big. So if they start big, I think they'll go Steph, Dennis, Wiggins, Draymond, and Trace or Loon. That's kind of it kind of doesn't matter at this point. They'll throw one up. I'm gonna go with Loon just because he's playing much better. But
It
that
should
means
be
they're
Trace, bro.
kicking JK. That means they're kicking JK back to the
Why?
bench as the sixth man for Dennis. I don't know because now they're looking like they're gonna play JK. So I have no idea. If I had to guess, what's my guess? I think they're gonna start small.
Okay, I'm going
I
to
think
ask
they're
you
gonna
one more
continue.
question.
They're gonna. I'm just gonna say this, Jim. I think they're gonna actually continue to start small. It's gonna continue to be JK at the 4
Well, then that's
and
gonna
Draymond at the 5.
that's you're Steve Kerr's gonna fail this team if he's gonna continue to do that.
I promise you, for I would say 5 to 10 games, that's the lineup you'll see. That's the starting 5.
I don't know. I think
Book it right now.
again. I think Schroeder. Let's say Schroeder does very similar things to Melton in a lot of different ways, right? And again, when Melton was in that starting lineup and they ran that starting five with Trace at the center spot, bro, they had a 21.6 net rating. So and you have Schroeder, he's gonna create opportunities for Trace, and now we don't have to worry about him missing layups and stuff like this because somebody will actually get him the lobs when he's open that other guys are failing to get him, whether it's Pot,
Well,
whether it's Buddy,
I'm not gonna
all these
blame his rim
things.
finishing on just the pass. I think that's a little bit.
May I
It's a little
interject?
bit of
May I
a
Well, you
interject?
free
gotta you
free
gotta get
pass
him
to TJD.
comfortable. At the end of the
May I
day, I
interject?
think he's not comfortable. They don't run anything for him, and I think a guy like Schroeder, a guy like Melton, makes the game easier for him and allows him to get into an easier
Jim,
rhythm. So
Jim,
we'll see
that
what
is
happens with
fair.
that.
That is fair because guys like Chris Paul, Kyle Lowry, those type of point guards, they usually have extra 2K badges to get guys.
They can
Yeah,
set up bigs.
think about like
Yeah,
Dennis is a
we
Tyson
guy
get it, we
Chandler,
he
get it,
bro.
he can set up
Think
bigs.
about
Yeah, he can
we
set
Tyson
up
get it.
bigs.
Chandler, how much
But
impact Tyson Chandler had at an overall
100%,
basketball player. Does he ever make
100%.
back to the basket moves around the bat? No, he's a finisher, lob finisher. That's it,
Yeah,
right?
but
This is
Tyson
hold up,
Chandler,
AK,
especially in his prime when he was starting for
AK.
Team USA, Tyson Chandler, when he was anywhere close to the restricted area, he was putting a dude in the first row. TJD
AK,
is not doing that.
this is what I would say though, right? This is what I would say, and you could use this in gymnastics, you could use this in lacrosse, you could use this in shot put, discus. It doesn't matter. You see, if you have an opportunity as an athlete to, quiet the naysayers, or you're being yo-yoed and your coach prefers a specific player. You see, when your opportunity arises, you cannot leave any question. Remember when David Lee, the former Gator, former Warrior, when he got hurt, the minute Draymond, the tweener, the fat version of Draymond, the minute he got on the floor and there was an opportunity, he took it. There's no more getting your job back. It's done, right? You cannot replace me. TJD has had that opportunity. Kaminga has had that opportunity. Paz has had that opportunity. Lindy has had that opportunity. So I'm just looking at it from that angle. When you have an opportunity to put the game in a chokehold, I'm not gonna make excuses for you as a grown man making millions. You know what I mean? Like, this is your chance. You're either gonna take it or not. You either have it or you don't. You know what I mean? You're either good or you're not. And Steph Curry don't have 3 or 4 years for guys to figure it out and master their craft 3 or 4 years from now. Like, they taking credits at some, state university, and we got to wait on several terms. I need somebody to display that now. And if they can't display it now, by all means, go out there and get me somebody who could display that. That's how I feel.
Okay, that's
Yeah.
fair. Urkel and AK, I just want to ask you this question. Do you think that Jonathan Kuminga, as currently constructed, as he currently is built to be a championship caliber, a 16-game player, a two-way player for the Warriors this season?
You want to answer that first, AK?
And consider the fact that he has to play both the 3 and the 4 for this team. As long as he's in rotation, that's what's going to happen. So put that into consideration and then let me know.
JK, offensively at the 4, it's not an issue, right? Offensively, it's never an issue because he can, when he, I'm not going to call him a good shooter, but he can, let's say adequately, quote unquote, space the floor, but that's not his strength because he gets downhill anyways. You've seen what he does to a guy like Jabari Smith, right? Jabari Smith is 6'10". He's athletic as they come at the 4, and he looks like a child in front of Jonathan Kuminga defensively. When he's on the wing, he even has more space to operate. He can work with more ball screens, especially high ball screens. He can get downhill. His downhill pressure is not necessarily something he's taking full advantage of because his free throw shooting is poor. His free throw shooting needs to increase significantly. When you talk about a 16 game situation, when you talk about having the ball in your hands and two guys going to Steph Curry, you have another ball handler on the floor. You might have an ISO on the wing. If you go downhill and you're drawing fouls and you're creating rim pressure, you cannot shoot 60% from the line. We may lose a quarter because you're doing that. There are concerns that JK has. That's just on the offensive side of the floor. On the defensive side of the floor, he's made a jump in, I would say, off ball on the perimeter. This season, he's significantly better in passing lanes. He's significantly better on the ball. He's actually forcing guys into tough shots. He's not just recovering because he's athletic at times and then getting a stop. He's actually forcing them into bad looks. You can see that with what guys are shooting on him, from the mid range out. Right? They're shooting 34%. You can't really score on him. So that said, in the paint, in the low block, they're demolishing him. He's getting bigger guys that are heavier than him. He cannot guard the post. He doesn't even have enough film in his head to be able to clock a guy's footwork and know if he turns on his back shoulder or his inside shoulder. He can only do so many things, right? There's so much time he can put in from a film standpoint, from a development standpoint. So you got to put him in the best position defensively. That said, Jim, the issue with JK, if you want to move off of JK is a guy that I could consolidate moving off of if you paid him already. In the summer, if he's an RFA and you match an offer that comes from another team, you cannot trade a player that you in this CBA that you match. He basically has to not get that offer from any other team. There is going to be a team that throws some money at JK where you're in a situation that you have to match him. Now, if you trade him before that point, you're trading $8 million. So you got to ask yourself, if you're going to trade a guy like this and you're going to combine him with an expiring contract, that dude that you get back for 16, 17 million better be a bona fide championship piece. If you don't get that guy, Jim, I don't know how you can trade this kid. That's my stance.
You have to get a two-way star level player, and that's a two-way guy. And there's not a lot.
At less than 20 million. That's a
Right now.
very difficult thing. And that guy, not only you have to go get him, he has to be available. And you have to outbid teams
I'm
with
gonna keep it a
picks,
buck
which
with
means you
you.
got to send all your picks to do this. It's a
AK,
tough thing to do, man. It's tough.
I'm gonna keep it a buck with you. The Warriors started off 12-3. You do the math, 80% out of the 15 games they played, right? I don't even think it's a matter of like trading no Kaminga, nothing like that, bro. I just think there's certain dudes who being forced